Hi, everybody. Welcome to our session here with our next presenter, Alan Goodman. Very excited to introduce you to Alan. Alan is a multifaceted entrepreneur and educator who operates in a few very different worlds. He owns a baking business. He worked in the world of operational excellence, and he plays a significant role in education. And I believe that's what he's going to be talking quite a bit about in this presentation today. Um, but Alan is shaping the lives of middle and high school kids with some powerful ways to teach them lean thinking and problem solving. And I had the good fortune to have Alan present at the Lean Summit a few years ago, where he was able to teach some of these principles and what he's doing with kids. Very applicable to adults, not just kids. So I hope you all learn plenty from Alan. I'm sure you will. And with that, I'll turn over the keys to him. Take it
All
away,
right.
Alan.
Thank you very much. Thanks for that introduction. I appreciate it. I'm going to share my screen here. Hope everybody can see. Um, so today I'm going to be talking about developing the next generation of lean leaders. So I want to walk you through kind of how I got to this point of teaching lean to children, which seems to be something that is pretty unique across the country. So just want to make sure you guys can see. Okay.
Yep, it looks good, Alan.
Okay, perfect. So a little about me. Again, I've been in the field for about 25 years or so. Certified Lean Six Sigma Black Belt, and I've worked with companies pretty much at all sizes, from small businesses all the way up to Fortune 500 companies. So had a lot of work in the field from large to small. I'm a professor at Milwaukee Area Technical College, and also I do some training of companies as well. So, but let's get to really the gist of this discussion, which is about really focusing on developing the next generation of lean leaders. And so, whenever I go to a conference, I notice that a lot of the folks in the room are either slightly younger than me or slightly older. And so I always wonder about who's going to be there when we reach back to pass the baton, or reach up to pass the baton to the next generation. And so that's how I started down this track of working with children. And the thought is that, when I talk to companies, one of the skill sets that they say is lacking, well, a couple actually. One is critical thinking, and the other is problem solving. That always comes up. And I talk to businesses and organizations when I'm trying to help place my college students who are in my program. But the thought was really, why not start earlier? I used to be involved with junior achievement quite a bit, and so bringing a discipline like lean down to so that younger children can understand it was really important to me. And so, really, the only problem solving that children have, unless they're doing something outside of school, is math. And as you can see, in our country, students are not doing really well with math. And so I want to make sure kind of build their resiliency and problem solving, and really help them to be more prepared for their careers. So the learning objectives when I'm working with kids is just to build a general understanding of lean and some of the tools, really helping them to understand how to see waste, and really using the tools not only just in workplace examples, but just in their own lives. Are they using it for preparing for a test, or to do that better? Is there waste in how they clean their room and do the laundry? Like, really making it applicable to their lives. So that's what I'm focusing on. That really helps them to understand. So I'm showing you this picture because when I started thinking about developing a camp for kids, I thought about the movie Rocky 2. So I don't know how many of you are old enough to remember Rocky 2, but I'm going to show you this quick video, and then I'll talk about the situation. Okay, so this scene in Rocky 2 is probably one of the most famous scenes in any movie, in movie history, probably one of. And so I thought back about this because this scene had to be reshot a number of times. And the reason why is because the children kept outrunning Sylvester Stallone in the movie. And so the director, after a number of shoots, really took the kids aside and said, okay, listen, I can't figure out how to keep Sylvester Stallone in front of you guys. Give me some advice. What do you think? And so there were two different kids. One said, why don't we give him a head start? The other one said, why don't we just jog? If you go back and watch this scene, you'll see the kids jogging and kind of letting Sylvester Stallone get a hit. And so I thought about this as I was um, putting together this lean camp because I was actually one of the kids, not one that came up with a solution, but I was there when this discussion happened. And so children are more capable than we think of really problem solving and identifying waste. And so problem solving skills with children start to emerge around the preschool years, about age 3. And so it really is important. Kids do things like, putting the blocks, the round, trying to find the round pegs and the square pegs. Their creativity is really encouraged. They do puzzles and things like that. All these things help develop problem solving. But in middle school, and I sit on the board of a charter school, the focus really gets more to state testing. So how do we get kids up in math and English language arts in their testing? And so there's less time for actual problem solving, and really the focus is on testing, right? And so that kind of takes away from problem solving other than just doing math. And again, we're not doing well there. So what I decided to do is start a summer camp. We first started having a 1-day camp. It was tagged along with some other camps we do at Milwaukee Area Technical College. We did 1 day, 3 hours. It really went over well. We had a cap of 15 children in the camp. And so that next year it grew into a week. So Monday through Friday, starting at 8:30, 8:30 to 11:30 every day. And so build out a curriculum for that where we have hands-on activities, games, online curriculum, case studies, simulations, and then a personal improvement project. This is their standard pig on the window here, facing actually the FISO Forum, home of the Milwaukee Bucks. But so this is our camp flyer. This is from 2022. We started in 2019. So this just gives you a flavor of this camp. It's a free camp. Kids sign up or their parents sign up and they just come. We started actually during the pandemic, so it was completely virtual. And then in this case, which was the next year, we had 4 days virtual and 1 day in person. And one of the people on the call or on our meeting that was virtual was a young lady from the Philippines, who I'm going to talk about in a second. I don't know how she found the camp. She was about 12 hours time difference. So we're in the morning, she's at night, but she hung on every day, really enjoyed it, and really learned these lean concepts. We're in Milwaukee, and we had four parents drive their children over from Illinois as well. So really, parents took to it and wanted their kids to learn this discipline. So again, I'm gonna go a little quicker, but just generally about the day, or about the week. These are some of the things we covered. What I found out is that as we've been doing this camp, that these children are more capable of learning additional concepts than I thought. So we started out just looking at process mapping, waste, and PDCA, how to do a problem statement. Where it really got into now we start talking about data, start talking about variation, Little's law. We start doing pilots. Graphical analysis, right? So these kids are really capable of learning more faster than we thought. In the virtual spaces, when we were doing that before we converted to in person, our kids would come on and they would talk about some of the improvements they were doing around the house. So this is Alicina, the young lady from the Philippines, and she's showing her some of the work she had been doing. We also partner with a company called More Steam, big in the Lean Six Sigma space, and they actually created a Lean arcade for us, so the kids would go through and do some of those simulations, whether it's an 8 waste game, 5S game, and they would compete against each other to see who would win. And so, but it was a way to help these things kind of stick. We also had some kids do the catapult challenge, where they were tasked with hitting a target and they had to make the adjustments on the catapult and also track their data, how far they missed the target, and really try to figure out how to reduce that variance of their shots from the catapult. We also did the Kanban pizza game where we were sending them orders, and they had cut up paper as representing pizza, and really this was a game to really get into work in process, and how do they reduce that down to get more finished product or finished pizza at this point. And so if you'll note that they started out in the beginning where they had one pizza finished and a lot of whip, and they got in the fourth round to 21 pizzas finished by rearranging some of the tasks, rearranging some of the kids around the table, and they really were really motivated to kind of get the time down on their activity. To introduce PDCA, I bring in the spaghetti tower, where they have to build the tallest tower possible, and kind of deal with some of the issues that they run into. And at the end of the exercise, we talk about what were some of the issues they ran into, how did they get around them, did they pilot anything? One thing I learned about children, though, through this whole thing that adults don't really do is that children are not afraid to scrap the whole idea and start over, and I think that's important. I think adults we have some maybe some corporate battle scars or hesitancy, but kids they'll throw out an idea if it doesn't work and they'll start over. And I think that's really important concept that we as adults we could take from them. Also, in this exercise, the younger the child, the easier this is to them. Also, we do the Lego production line where I give them a target of, in this case, this is Lego happy houses that they have to build. So we get a prototype. Do they work to that prototype? They distribute duties, who's going to do what, and they really pilot and test this to get to the target number of houses they have to make. And so we send them an order. They work through the order. Uh, they sort through the Legos in the second or third round to make sure they do 5S, make sure they only have what they need. They can get through quicker and it's organized. So again, they really pick up these tools pretty quickly. There, Alexina sent us a video from the Philippines. We won't show it here. It's not great quality, but she walked through her book of hacks. And so Alexina was virtual the whole camp. And so in less than 15 hours, she came up with 6 hacks based on lean principles in her home in the Philippines. And so she has a book that she showed us in the video. So it was pretty amazing that in that short amount of time that she could learn these concepts enough to implement them in her home. And so that really motivated me to keep this camp going. So this is actually year 7. So our goal really is to grow the camp, to have it reach more kids, particularly in underserved communities, in our Black and Brown communities. Also, to develop a curriculum so that we can take it out like a junior achievement type, um, I'll say method, where we're going from, you know, we have lessons for kindergarten all the way up through, seniors in high school, right? And so, because this is a skill that the workforce and workplaces need, and so if we're able to give that to our children and the ones that really take to it, which are what I call the high potentials or high pots, that we give them more intensive training. Right now we go from lean, we build on that more advanced lean, lean Six Sigma, right? And then we pair them perhaps with a company. I look at this whole thing as it's almost like a farm system for baseball or an NBA draft almost where a company can look at children, see their talent, see their ability to problem solve, their ability to learn these tools, and they really invest in those kids so that when they come out of college, they can go right into their leadership pipeline. So that's my big goal for this. But right now, I just want to grow this and have it in more schools in the Milwaukee area, and even outside of that, where we partner with companies outside of Wisconsin, and we really start to drill down and get these kids learning lean principles. In addition, building some internship opportunities as well. I think children now, and we actually teach children age well in 6th to 12th grade, and so I think children can be working with companies to help them solve problems of today and tomorrow because these are after all future customers. And so I think there's a lot of opportunity to really help our kids get real world experience so that when they come out, we have a new generation of lean leaders ready to get into the workforce. All right. Any questions about what we just talked about today?
Thanks, Alan. That was great.
Thank you.
For those with us, if you'd like to ask a question, be sure to use that Q&A function. It's located, you should just see it at the bottom of your Zoom window. I'll kick things off here, Alan.
Mhm.
And you can stop sharing your slides if you'd like.
Sure.
Um, what do you think, the lessons you've learned working with kids, if you were to, find yourself in a leadership role, management role inside of a corporation, like the one you used to work for,
Mhm.
how do you think it would change, your how you would lead people?
Yeah, I think the personal application of these tools is really important. And so we
Hmm.
can talk about, business situations, business problems, and that sort of thing. But when you have to apply lean to things like how you get to work, how you balance your budget, how you go grocery shopping, I find like those things really stick more. And that's what I've learned
Hmm.
from kids is that, when a child can come back and say, I made a new study plan and for my test because I took out some waste from my process, and that's really powerful. And so now
Hmm.
it's more skin in the game when it applies to you personally. I think so that helps it to stick at least from what I've seen. So I would really
Hmm.
focus more on I need you to go out, I need you to apply this to something in your life, and then come back and then we talk about it.
Yeah, I've heard that. Fix a problem that fix your own problem first, and then work on something inside of a team or a company.
Yeah.
There's a question here from Michael. He asks, any activities you can recommend for first graders? His sister is an MPS teacher.
Oh, cool. I would say for first graders, the spaghetti tower is really a good one. They'll try to eat the marshmallows, I'm sure, but that's okay. It's a good one because it really tests your not only your problem solving, your critical thinking, but also your teamwork, which is the I think the other big thing is really just having you work together in a group and figured out those group dynamics. That's such a key part of projects and Lean Six Sigma. And so I think that's a great start. I would say Legos, if you do use Legos, obviously use bigger ones because because you don't want anybody to put anything in their mouth. But Legos are also a good one because kids like the competition. And so if you have two production lines going, um, that's good. Also, Mr. and Mrs. Potato Head works for that as well.
LEI actually uses Mr. and Mrs. Potato Head for
Oh, cool.
simulation activities, and it's
Cool.
extremely effective.
Absolutely.
Um, you mentioned something about kids have the ability to scrap an idea when they realize it's no longer working or not working,
Yeah.
and adults have a tough time doing that. What do you think gets in the way, and how do you think we can better overcome our aversion to scrapping bad ideas?
Yeah, and I will add, I do this. I use the same games and activities with children I do with adults, right?
Hmm.
And so, I think it's really it's that fear of failure. I think is a big part of it. To say that something just didn't work and
Mm,
just wipe it away, I think is a challenge. I won't say for everybody, but I think for a lot of us because we like to just tweak what we've done. We have an idea in our head. Let's tweak it until it works. Um, and obviously, when you scrap an idea as an adult in a company, there's money attached to it. So there
mm,
could be some of that. But really, I think scrapping the idea is and starting anew can you can actually come up with a better idea instead of a flawed one that you just continue to tweak.
mm. What about as you've lived these camps, are there any things you've taken away from the kids, important lessons that you've actually applied to your own life?
Yeah, I would say, definitely trying new things and keeping an open mind, I think is valuable. Approaching a situation without assumptions and really
Mm,
working through, which is kind of what we were supposed to do anyway. We're supposed to let the data point us to the solution, but or the root causes too. But sometimes we have so much experience that we have those assumptions already in our head as far as the direction we're going to go, and we really have to back off of that. I think it's okay to have assumptions, but the data has to prove it. And so
mm,
the kids have really showed me that if you come into something with open mind, you may have developed some solutions that are really better than ones you already had in your head that you want to accomplish.
hmm. Yeah, it's yeah, approaching situations with beginner's eyes and not coming in with any preconceived notions. It's very difficult to do that once you've seen something many times. So
Absolutely.
how you do that? That's a big challenge. Um, so the kids that have been part of the program, Alan, do you
Mhm.
see them? Are you able to track their progress following the summer camp, or do you see a lasting impact after they've participated?
Yeah, that's one of the things we're working on is tracking. I know we did find Alexina, who's our young lady from the Philippines, and
Hmm.
we found a video on YouTube where she's working on like a water conservation project, which I think is amazing.
Wow.
I'd like to say we had a part in that. I don't, hopefully we did. But I've gotten some really nice notes back from kids where this helped them kind of find their career. One young man said last year that this really solidified his interest in engineering.
Wow.
So yeah, so we've got some nice notes, but I do want to build sort of a more robust tracking system to kind of see where these kids have gone. I do find though, interestingly enough, this camp sits under the STEM pathway, and we have more young ladies and young men that come to join the camp. So I think that's pretty significant.
That's interesting.
Mhm.
Hmm. And do you have any? You said you're trying to grow the camp. Is
Mhm.
that is that in progress, or is that still something you're working on?
Yeah, it's definitely in progress. I'm due to sit down with ASQ and have a conversation.
Oh, cool.
I know they've wanted to have some sort of curriculum for younger kids, so that could be a good partnership. Definitely have been talking to LEI as well, and so perhaps there's something that we can build out of that and kind of recruit some companies to get on board. Because again, with what I'm hearing about the workforce is that whenever you look at the top skills that are needed, problem solving and critical thinking are always in the top five. And so we really have to start equipping our kids with these skills early on so that it becomes
Mm,
natural to them.
mm. Yeah, gosh, it's a little disheartening, especially the things you read following the COVID and how it's impacted kids.
Absolutely.
Kids who were in school during COVID. Um, what do you see? Do you see any interest in? You said you're on the board of a charter school. Do you see
Right.
any interest in these sorts of activities, problem solving exercises, finding their way into the school that um, that, that you're with, or expanding it into schools inside of Milwaukee?
Yeah. So with the charter school, and I actually work with another Catholic school as well. As I'm explaining kind of Lean Six Sigma and what it is and the principles and that sort of thing, what I find is that it actually the staff and leadership are more interested in learning about it themselves. And so
Interesting.
and so as we're kind of moving to roll it out to kids, we're working on things like how do we improve enrollment? How do we reduce OSHA
Hmm.
claims? How do we, look at our HR processes, right? How do we look at our financial reporting and get that standardized? So
Hmm.
they're excited about that. I know there was an MPS teacher who had a question, Dr. Casilius, who's the new superintendent. We had a conversation as well. She's extremely interested. So hopefully something will come out of that as well. So
Oh,
yeah.
very cool.
So we're working to get to the kids, but um, it seems to be leadership is ready
That's great. Yeah.
to jump in and learn it and see how it can impact education.
Nice
So
to
I'm
see
really
adults
excited.
pulling for it. That's
Yeah,
great. All right. Well, we're at time. I
yeah,
want to thank you again, Alan, for joining our event. And
absolutely.
thank you all for joining and watching and listening. I'm going to close the space.
All right.
Farewell. Thank you.